Hi everybody. So before we go into building the horizontal stabilizer, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little video about putting together a dimpler, desktop dimpler, called the DRDT-2 from Experimental Aero. One of the things I did as an engineer before I started this process was research over and over and over again. And one thing that I've constantly noted about people that have been building their own home-built aircraft is that they need a good dimpler. Something with a nice, sturdy base, the ability to dimple deep into the middle of large, flat sheets of aluminum. And the DRDT-2 supplies that. Not to mention that it's very consistent with how you do the dimples. There's two basic dimpler types. There's the standard C-frame, which looks like the base that you see sort of on the table, but less structurally large. And it requires you to hammer the dimples into place. And while that does work perfectly fine, this allows for a more consistent, in my opinion, dimple into the aluminum. Only because there's no way if I know if I'm hitting the top of a dimple head with 40 pounds of pressure versus 43. Sure, with practice you get good at it, but I really don't trust myself that much. But I trust this. So there's a little bit of assembly that's required. You can just buy that pulley and handle from Experimental Aero and create your own frame, and I've seen a few people do that with industrial size I-beams, so that they have the capability of dimpling any size skin, period, without having to move around or get fancy with the skins. I just decided to bypass that and just get the frame that you can buy with it. It's not an inexpensive tool, however, two things. One, invaluable. This thing saves so much time. Two, the consistency. Three, I know that, God forbid, this project turns south or I need to dump off any equipment, that this basically, I'll be able to sell it for exactly what I paid for it. I had to wait 3 weeks just because this thing's been back ordered so hard. So here I'm putting on the springs to the handle itself. There's two springs, one on each side. Of course, at the time I only thought you had to put on one spring because, well, it was probably early. Yeah, I can't say enough about this dimpler. The one thing that they also do, and Experimental Aero is really great about this, is they send you plans so that you can build little side tabletop removable pieces, or just little removable tables to put on either side of your dimpler, so that you're not having to kind of hang skins over the top, so it doesn't look like you're hanging over a fence or anything. That way you keep it nice and flat. I haven't done that yet. I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to build the small tables, or if I'm actually going to build a table for the dimpler itself that can then be rolled up next to this work table that you see me at. Here I am centering up the two halves of the dimpling. The trick to getting this to work properly is it's kind of like a big cam. Basically, all the pressure gets applied right at the very bottom of the stroke. And what you want is to be able to put your sheet of metal in there, and then once the two pieces of the dimple die are pressed together to the sheet metal, you have basically another like 1.5 inches of movement with the arm, and that's what causes the dimple. And here I am just trying a couple of test pieces. Anyway, next video we'll actually start the horizontal stabilizer.